Hi, everybody. Welcome to the final edition of Bengal Magazine for the year. On the show, we're going to start off with women's lacrosse, and Meg Stevens is going to join us. She's bringing along Karen Sheddock, her senior attacker from Corning, New York. Coming to an end of a brilliant career is Karen. Up next is Marie Kern in softball. She's bringing along Kirsten Leckie, a senior shortstop from North Tonawanda. And we're going to finish the show with track and field with Rich Peete and Jordan Fuentes. So stay with us. We'll be right back. We'll talk women's lacrosse. All right, we're going to talk a little softball now. We're joined by Marie Kern, the head coach of the Bengals, and Kirsten Leckie, our outstanding senior shortstop. And Coach, it's been a difficult time for the program since softball was last on the show, and you've assumed the head coaching role. On April 2nd, we lost Sandy Hollander, our head coach of 27 years, to cancer, and it's been difficult for everybody. How has the team gotten through this?
They've gotten through it as a family. Mm-hmm. Everything has been about the group of young ladies, their parents, the Hollanders, and everybody has joined together to move forward and honor Coach Hollander the way we should.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's been absolutely wonderful to watch how these young ladies have come together and really embraced the support system that has been Buffalo State and the family that you say. I will let everybody know Marie comes to us, and we're very fortunate to have Marie on staff. She was the former head coach at the University at Buffalo, won 2 Division III national championships at Trenton State, twice a runner-up in the national championship game, and was an All-American at Trenton State, too. So she has enormous Division III experience. Kirsten, when you think of Coach Hollander, and I know you've spoken at the service, what will you take? What will you remember of Sandy?
Just how determined she was. Like, I mean, it was more than just we were here playing softball. Mm-hmm. She taught us a lot more than that. Mm-hmm.
You had a very difficult game, but absolutely, and I will say the word, it was a beautiful game to watch. Sandy passed on Monday, and on Wednesday, you had to go play RIT in Rochester. And the team decided, and the program decided, it was the right thing to do. It was probably the thing that Sandy would want us to do, right? And,
yes.
And she wouldn't take anything else, but you go out there and play. But it was difficult. There was a ceremony beforehand, right before the first pitch. And take me through that, Kirsten, how that was emotionally for you. And then something kind of kicked in, it seemed like.
Yeah, I mean, the first at-bat was probably one of the hardest things I've had to do, you know. And she said that when you were going up to bat. It's, you know, you thought it was going to be hard until you actually got up there and you realized how hard it actually was. And to look down I played how many games here, to look down third base and just, you know, she never really said anything when I was up to bat, but she just stood there and you knew what she wanted you to do. And to not see her standing back at you, you know, it was pretty difficult. But, you know, after that first inning, we kicked things into gear. And
yeah, it was tough. I mean, here I am watching it from a fan standpoint, and they did a beautiful job. RIT. They brought out orange roses for the players when they were introduced, and then you have to play a game. And if you knew Sandy would probably say, let's just go out and kick some butt here and win this game. And how was it for you, Coach? I mean, you kind of let that play through and just let that first inning go?
That's what we had to do, and as a staff, we had previously talked about it, that if anything had gone on, even the moment of silence was going to be difficult.
Sure.
We didn't expect the roses from RIT. They were an amazing host. Mm-hmm. They really reached out to us, and it was very kind of them to be as good as they were.
Right.
But the first inning we knew, the first 3 hitters, was a great comment from one of our staff members, was if they could see the ball between their tiers, we'd be lucky. And, you know, we didn't, but they recovered immediately. We got the first 3 outs out of the way, went out on defense and played something comfortable where you had space and you were a team.
Right.
You know, offense is such an individual part of the game. They were individuals at that time, and they needed their team. Yeah,
very well said. Was there, and it seemed to me that after that first inning, and you were down, I believe, 4-0 after the first, or maybe even 5-0. I can't remember. But all of a sudden, something happened, and I don't know if somebody came into the dugout and said something, or the team just kicked in. Was there anything said after the first inning, or was it okay? Now we're ready to play some softball?
Yeah, I think it was just we're ready to go.
Okay.
You know, and if we were down 5-4-0 and she was here, she wouldn't be a happy camper. So we knew we had to figure it out.
You've had a very interesting season considering what's going on, and a very successful season. 17-15 overall, 9-5 in the conference. Kirsten, is it taking away Sandy? Has the season unfolded on the field the way you thought it would?
I mean, yeah, we dropped a couple games we shouldn't, but you know, you can always, you know, our team went through something that no other team has ever had to go through, so you can't get mad at people for, you know, making mistakes. But now it's, you know, playoff time, so you know, now we have to peak within the next week. So
well, it's not quite playoff time yet. I mean, the time is there, but the team's not quite in the playoffs yet. Although it looks pretty good. What do you like about this team, Coach? And what do you like going into SUNYACs?
What I really love about them is they never question. When we're asking them to play a different position because they need to fill in, we're moving people around, getting lineups comfortable. We have a great mix of young and older players and experienced players. And to make them mesh, some of it's experiments.
Okay.
And to see who is going to be the best leadoff hitter and who is going to be the best person to protect Kirsten. And we've been working a lot with that, and everybody's embraced that role.
Would you say now, as we enter the final 2 conference games of the season, that the lineup is kind of solidified now where people are going to be and who's subbing for who and who's pitch running for whom, and et cetera, et cetera?
Not exactly.
Okay.
Leave it up to the way this whole season has gone. One of our starters has to fly out to California for a wedding that she's in for a direct family member, and it was an agreement before the season that she go attend this wedding.
Okay.
So we're going to be missing our starting right fielder. So it's, okay, who's going to step up and play right field?
There you go.
Who's going to fill in as the leadoff hitter? So, you know, we're going to miss Shelley this weekend, but her teammates are going to step up and fill those holes.
And it's an opportunity for someone else.
Yes, absolutely.
You are finishing a brilliant career here at Buffalo State. It's sentimental time here, Kirsten, a little bit, and you're going out with a big bang. How do you feel like your senior season personally now has been what you wanted it to be?
Yeah, you know, you want things really bad, and like when your back's against the wall, and you know, like against Ithaca, I didn't hit well, and then I get a little discouraged. But you have to think, you know, that was one doubleheader that I didn't get any hits.
Right.
I've gotten hits in every other doubleheader. So,
Sure.
But this weekend's a big weekend, and it's a big weekend. If I want to, you know, get where I want to be, this is the weekend to do it.
Well, we have about a minute left. I want to, of all these statistics I'm going to talk about, which is the one that you say, yes, personally, that's what I wanted to do. You're batting .450 right now. You were batting .331 last year. You have 8 home runs. You had 8 home runs last year. Your slugging percentage is .870. And in the field as a shortstop, you have only 10 errors all season. Last year you had 18. If I'm telling you all these statistics early in the season, what would impress you most about that?
Honestly, it would be on base percentage.
Okay.
Because, you know, if you're on base, you know, not only can you score runs, but you give your teammates opportunities to hit you in. I think it's just, if you get on base, you can make things happen.
Right.
So I think that's the one that means the most.
As we go into the final 2 games, we have about 30 seconds left. What has to keep moving forward for this team to get into the playoffs and then advance in the SUNYACs?
Same thing we told them last night at practice. You have to play well in all 3 pieces.
Okay.
We have to pitch well, we have to hit well, and we have to play defense well. When we do that, we should win 4 games this weekend.
Well, ladies, best of luck this weekend, a big weekend conference-wise, and then going into the playoffs. I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
The Alex Hollander Education Fund, Sandy's 10-year-old son, Alex, we have set up an education fund for Alex called the Alex Hollander Education Fund. And if you'd like to contribute to that fund, please make your checks payable to Buffalo State Foundation. And you can send those directly to me at Tom Kohler, Buffalo State Athletics, 1300 Elmwood Avenue, Buffalo, New York, 14222. Again, that's the Alex Hollander Education Fund. Checks made payable to Buffalo State Foundation, and you can send it to the address that you see on the screen. We'll be right back. All right, let's talk a little women's lacrosse. Meg Stevens, the head coach in her 10th season here at Buffalo State, and Karen Shattuck join us. Meg, it's been an interesting year. Why don't you take us through the season in a viewpoint of you, the head coach?
It has been, I really can't complain. We're 10 and 5. It's hard. It's hard for a head coach to complain when you're 10 and 5, and we've done some really nice things. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and therefore there are always things we could improve on.
Right.
Year started out really, really well. Went 4-0, knocked off some teams we had trouble with last year. Knocked off Hamilton, which was a big win for us. So felt really, really good. I think we kind of encountered some issues mid-year, and some of that was a little bit planned. I scheduled one of the hardest strength schedules in the country this year. We knew it. We talked to the players about it before we even started. And going down and playing some of the best teams in the country is good competition. That's not a bad thing. I think the piece has been when we know we've been in it and we've had an opportunity to win some games where we haven't necessarily stepped up and done that at all times, and it's been a consistency problem. Some days our team is absolutely unbelievable, and others we really struggle. So it really has been a consistency. There's no doubt we're talented. It's been consistency. And I think we've kind of worked to overcome that, and what matters now is what's up next, not necessarily where we've been.
And I think the program as a whole has been dramatically elevated. And not only in your mind, and I sense a hesitancy, 10 and 5 is pretty good. And yet, we think high for women's lacrosse at Buffalo State now. We think 10 and 1, we think 10 and 2, we think 3 and 0, 4 and 0 in the conference, and that's a good thing. But do you sense the teams that you're playing are elevating themselves too because of who they're playing now? Buffalo State, ranked nationally, et cetera, et cetera.
It's been great for the SUNYAC Conference this year. I think, some of the reasons we've struggled is also some of the reasons that makes me very, very happy as a head coach within the SUNYAC. I'm one of the longstanding coaches in SUNYAC. Chris Case and I from Fredonia have been here the longest. It's great to see our programs do some really good things. It used to be just one perennial power, and now the fact that a lot of our teams are getting better, even though we've suffered with a few of those teams this year, is great for our conference. That's us getting maybe a secondary bid. That's people stopping to think of just NESCAC schools as women's lacrosse schools. SUNYAC is putting out some of the best women's lacrosse players and best women's lacrosse programs in the country.
And one of them's right next to you.
She is.
Karen is finishing up an absolutely brilliant career here at Buffalo State. And let's reminisce a little, Karen. How about that? Soon you'll be graduating and all that. 4 years ago, when you came to Buffalo State, was there any question of coming to Buffalo State? Was it the place you wanted to be at and you knew where the program was going, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, Coach gave us, Kendall and I, the underdog speech when we came for our recruiting visit. And we both knew that we wanted to go somewhere that we were going to play and have fun doing it.
Great. 4 years later, let me throw some statistics at you. You are now third in the entire country, in the nation, in the history of Division III lacrosse in career points. You had 10 goals last week in a win over Geneseo, 8 goals, followed that up with 8 goals at Potsdam. The 10 goals at Geneseo is a school record. Third in the entire history of Division III lacrosse right now. Has that settled in? And did you ever think that would be possible when you came to Buffalo State 4 years ago?
No, and it's not really on my mind. I had one goal when I came here, and that was win a SUNYAC championship.
Okay.
So,
does this surprise you, Coach? 4 years ago, did you see 4 years ago that these type of statistics would be possible in a career?
I mean, we knew Karen was good, and Karen's always been very naturally gifted. How good she has gotten over the years has been her work ethic.
Okay.
Karen is one of those players that goes above and beyond, and those are the type of players you just hope to coach. So yes, she's got some natural gifts that are impressive, but it's her work ethic, and it's what she does that really sets her apart, and she deserves the credit that she gets because she's worked for it. She's the player in the gym before practice, shooting after practice, and those types of things do make a big difference, and she's stepping up when her team needs her to step up.
Yeah, she's a bit of a gym rat. There's no question about that. I'm always amazed when I see 10 goals versus Geneseo and followed up with 8 more against Potsdam. I'm like, don't they know who she is? Do opponents position their defense for her, and is she still scoring these goals?
They do, and I've had some really interesting conversations. I know a lot of opposing coaches. We're good friends, and they always talk about Karen quite a bit. I think what one of the best things about Karen is they really look for her to hopefully single her out, right. And then she likes to really work with that. We work on it a little bit in practice, but really it's Karen just being Karen. Okay. I hope I get that mark. It just adds another challenge to the game and should be good. And then there are some coaches where, they'll come up to me after a game or even before a game and say, hey, look, it doesn't even matter what we do with her. So we're not even going to worry about it because she's going to do what she's going to do anyway. Right. And that's a great testament to her and kind of amusing from an opposing coach.
Do you sense that, too, over the years now, that they are really pinpointing their defense on you, maybe two ladies on you on defense, and is it a challenge to you?
Yeah, I like when they come out and face guard me.
Okay.
It's a kind of a compliment, and then it's easier to beat, I think.
We've got about 2 minutes left. Let's talk about the conference and the race to the playoffs. And getting into the playoffs and then moving forward in the SUNYACs. What does this team have to do? You've been here 4 years now. What does this particular team have to do to keep moving forward?
I think we're a good team under pressure. When we talk about going into games and them being big games, we tend to play better. So the pressure's on now. So
interesting.
Yeah.
In your view, what has to happen for this team to keep moving forward this year?
I fully back Karen on this one. They've enjoyed putting us in tough situations. There are times where they enjoy giving me gray hair. So maybe we just needed to put ourselves in a must-win situation. It's not a hidden thing that we've put ourselves in a bit of a quandary at the moment, and we need to win. And the players know it, and we need to go and win them.
And I think with about a minute left, I think that's a viewpoint of the conference as a whole that, and maybe in your 4 years, it's elevated the conference in terms of lacrosse. Do I sense is that a correct? Do I sense that? Is that correct?
Definitely is, which has been great. It's great for our program. It's great for everyone. Now we just need to do what we need to do and put ourselves in the position to go win a SUNYAC championship.
There you go. Well, let's get it done in your final year here. Let's win that SUNYAC.
Okay.
Karen, thanks for being on, Meg, as always. Thanks very much. We're going to take a quick break, but before we do, I do want to remind you of the Bengal Club Golf Tournament benefiting Karen and her fellow student-athletes and their programs here at Buffalo State. It is on Monday, July 9th at the Briarwood Country Club. That's out in Hamburg, New York. If you're interested in playing, if you're interested in sponsoring, if you're interested in donating an auction item, by all means, give my office a call at 878-6514, 878-6514, or you can ship me an email at KollerTC, that's KOLLERTC, at buffalostate.edu. That's the Bengal Club Golf Classic, Monday, July 9th at the Briarwood Country Club. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're talking softball. We're sending out congratulations to Karen Shattuck, who was on the show today. Karen is the Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week, one of just 5 players in Division III history to have 400 career points. She is now 3rd in career points in the entire history of Division III lacrosse with 415 points as of this show, 232 goals and 183 assists for the senior. She holds school record with goals scored and just did that in a 17-11 win over Geneseo, and then had 8 goals in a 16-4 win over Potsdam. So congratulations to Karen Shattuck, the Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week. And we are joined now by track and field, a couple of student athletes, Rich Pete joining us, and Jordan Fuentes, a jumper and a discus thrower. And gentlemen, welcome and thanks for being on. Rich, I think I'm going to start with you. We're talking track, and yet I see football on your jacket right there, which is kind of interesting. You are a two-sport star, as they say. Tell me about the recruiting process. Did you hear from both Coach Boys and Coach Lewis, or did one or the other, or how did that whole recruiting process go?
The coach that recruited me was Coach Oz.
Okay,
Coach
Christian Ozelins.
He's the coach that recruited me, and I've talked to the track and field coaches at my meets. They came and talked to me during my meets, and during my recruiting process, it was very important for me to be able to play both sports.
All right.
So
we're glad you are. considering what you've done in football and now what you're doing in track. And Jordan from Avon, New York, tell me about the recruiting process for you.
Actually, I came here to originally play football also, and Coach Lewis one day stopped me in the hallway because I had a track sweatshirt on freshman year after the season. And he goes, "Wait, you do track?" So I heard about you.
How about that?
And so I just ended up going to practice one day, and freshman year went really well. And now I'm just mainly a track athlete.
So you're concentrating on track
Yes,
your
sir.
junior year. Fantastic. Rich, as a freshman, you had a pretty darn good showing in the SUNYACs in the indoors. Let's talk about the triple jump first. You took 8th. Tell me about the jumps. Was it about where you thought you'd be? Did you hit the distance you thought you would?
I actually didn't hit the distance I thought I would.
Okay.
I actually expected to place higher. Mentally, I was kind of psyched out, but
Being the first one.
yeah.
Okay. Now, was the long jump after the triple jump or before the triple jump in terms of the process of the SUNYACs?
I believe the long jump went after.
Okay.
So I was more comfortable
Oh, really?
during the long
And it showed. You took 3rd. Tell us about that jump, and was it what you thought it would be?
jump. I'm glad I placed high,
Okay.
but I'm satisfied with my mark.
Well, buddy, you've got 3 more years, and I expect better things than 8th and 3rd. But I mean, that's fantastic. An 8th and a 3rd as a freshman, and I could understand where you could kind of be overwhelmed going to your first conference championship. And then you've got this guy here next to me, the big former football player, now discus thrower, already setting 2 school records in the discus. You have the record at 48.61. As a junior, did you think you would hold the school record your junior year here?
Coming in, I had a good idea that if I worked hard enough and pushed myself every day, I could break it. And actually, freshman year, I threw 44 meters.
Okay.
And then injuries kind of slowed me down, and this year, still kind of a little injury plagued, so to speak. But I've been able to push through, really work on my technique hard every day, and I'm starting to do the things that I thought I would do.
There are the viewers out there, and me included, are a bit novice when it comes to the discus. All right, we know it's a rather round-shaped instrument that you hold and throw. You have Let me see those hands. Now I have big hands because I can palm a basketball. Your fingers are at least a half inch longer than mine. I'm assuming that helps when it comes to throwing a discus.
I definitely think so.
Okay.
Because it's a larger implement. It's about maybe this big.
Okay.
I think it really helps that I'm able to spread my hands out more, whereas like if you had smaller hands, you can't spread them out as much. And I think that really helps your leverage when you're releasing the discus.
As a jumper now, Rich, when did you first started jumping? And was it in high school or was it before that? And when did you realize, boy, I can be pretty good at this?
I actually started jumping in middle school. It was just off raw talent and speed.
Okay.
And then when I got into high school, my coach seen that I was actually good, so he started to coach me up more.
Okay.
And I've gotten better, and I've grown better.
And we have about a minute left. If you were to pick 1 or 2 major facets of the jump that have to come together to make it a great jump, what would those be? Start, finish, what would it be?
In your triple jump, it's about your approach.
Okay.
Your approach has to be level, and you can't come too fast, so you can get your equal phases right. Your phase has to be equal.
All right.
And maintaining the rhythm is key in the triple jump.
Okay, and how about the long jump?
In the long jump, mainly it's about speed.
Speed.
Gaining as much speed and maintaining it through your approach, and getting as much height as you can, and really snapping through on your finish.
Wow, fascinating. I could keep talking to you for another half hour just about that because I'm learning about track and field and discus. It's fascinating. I know you guys are getting ready for the SUNYACs next weekend. I wish you the best of luck, and thanks again for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, that's going to wrap it up here at Bengal Magazine for the entire year. Thanks to everybody in Instructional Resources and all of our guests. We appreciate them being on, and we'll see you, guess what, next August for more Bengal Magazine.